and stay on.
Hi, everyone. We're just going to give everybody a second to log in here, and then we're going to go ahead and start. All right. We're so thankful all of you can join us today. I know folks are going to continue to log in as we go, but we'll kind of explain the rundown of today a couple times. So good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from today. Welcome to today's webinar, co-hosted by the Oracle Enterprise Management Product Management Team, the New York Oracle User Group, and Oracle partner Viscosity. We're super excited to kick off this new Level Up webinar series. If you are a regular here to NYOUG and Viscosity webinars, this is a little new, and we're super excited to have some Oracle product managers join us to present their knowledge base with you. So we're excited for that. Today we have Rajendra Patil. Sorry, I'm missing an L at the end of your name there. But I'm just going to go over a couple things about today's webinar. It is live and it will be recorded. So don't worry if you miss anything, if you've got to run, you will be able to access today's recording, as well as anything else our speaker wants to share with you today, whether it's a slide deck, links, things like that. So no worries there. Co-hosted by New York Oracle User Group as always. So Coleman's going to go over a couple things with us there, and then I'll share a little bit about Viscosity before we get kicked off. I just want to also let you guys know, since it is a live webinar, please take advantage of using the Q&A chat box. So you should see that on your screen. You may have to click a little button there, but we've actually got some extra help. We've got Mithil from Oracle also helping to answer any questions. So please take advantage of these great resources that we've got for you today. So I'm going to hand it over to Coleman, and he's just going to tell us a little bit about NYOUG.
Thank you, Monica. The New York Oracle Users Group was formed in 1984 for the exchange of ideas, assistance, and support among users of Oracle software products. Next slide, please. You can connect with us on Twitter, Meetup, LinkedIn, Facebook, and of course our website is nyoug.org, where you can always find the latest webinars on our events page. Next slide, please.
Oops, sorry, I think I didn't put your
and that's it. And I wish to thank our co-host, of course, Oracle, and also Viscosity for co-hosting these series of webinars that's been going on for 3 years now and continuing.
Wow, 3 years.
Thank you, Monica.
Yes. Thank you so much, Coleman. And I'll make my slide deck quick here. I know a bunch of you are regulars and we appreciate that, so I don't want to get too repetitive. But if you are new and you're not familiar with Viscosity, we are an Oracle partner. We're a consulting firm that was created by former Oracle employees as well. So we've got a lot of experience in Oracle database, including RAC, Apex. We perform near zero downtime migrations for our clients, lots of performance tuning, anything around high availability, and we've got decades of experience with infrastructure, including engineered systems. We're happy to report most of our clients are updated to Oracle Database 19c and beyond. So that's super exciting. And we also host monthly workshops through www.orapub.com. This slide right here just shows 3 pillars that we're built upon. So if anything here interests you, please let me know. Across the bottom are things we offer across all 3 of these pillars: data, apps, and cloud. These are some of our executive management and principal consultants that kind of represent Viscosity throughout user group conferences and even things like Oracle Open World. And hopefully you've been to some of their sessions or you have some of their books, but they're just great folks to get to know, to learn from. So we always like to highlight them here as they're part of the Oracle ACE program. This slide just shows a couple more things about our services. The thing I like to point out the most is Oracle License Management. If you ever need help figuring out what your organization needs and to make sure you're only paying for and taking advantage of what your company really needs. Partners are always great at helping you out there. So if it's Viscosity or another partner, I always highly recommend working with a third party there. Then these are some of our books. We've got some new books I like to highlight. Oracle Database Performance Tuning over here just came out. Upgrading Oracle Databases came out right after that. And then Oracle on Docker over here by A-Press came out maybe like 2 months ago. So we're super excited about those books and our authors. And then finally, orapub.com is where you can go to access webinars like this. You can get their slide decks and the recordings there, as well as tons of other stuff. So I highly recommend signing up there as a free member at the least. And if you can buy a tiered membership, perhaps your company will reimburse you, but there's just extra tools in there, everything around Oracle technology. So I would highly recommend this for you. And then finally, to get registered for more events like this, visit events.viscosityna.com. And of course, NYOUG.org is available to you too. You can follow us online as well. And with that, I'm going to introduce our speaker today that we're excited to have for the first time with NYOUG and Viscosity. Let's see if I can find where I put your bio, Rajendra. All right. Rajendra Patil is a principal product manager at Oracle. He's part of the Enterprise Manager product management team, helping customers in doing database migration using Enterprise Manager Migration Workbench tool. Rajendra is a passionate DBA and architect with 20 plus years of experience in DBA and architecting cloud, upgrade, migrate, and implementation solutions for Oracle Database, EBS, Peoplesoft, and custom applications. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Rajendra.
Thank you. Let me know if you can see my screen. Is it okay?
Looks great.
Sure. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good day. First of all, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to this presentation. Let me start with my introduction. Monica already gave that introduction, but let me start my introduction. My name is Rajendra Patil, and I'm part of Enterprise Manager Product Management team. Our today's topic is Migrate Oracle Databases on-site and to the cloud with safety net using Migration Workbench. In today's presentation, I will focus on 4 major areas. Number 1, challenges in database migration. Number 2, overview of Enterprise Manager Migration Workbench tool. Number 3, migration to cloud or other destination use cases. Migration Workbench demo I am going to give, and we will take questions at the end of the sessions.
Rajendra, can I interrupt you real quickly?
Sure.
We've got some questions coming in asking if you can speak up a little more.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Is it good one now?
I think that's
Sure.
a little better.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. To start with, understand why we do need to migrate databases and what are the common reasons to migrate databases. There are 3 popular business reasons to migrate your databases. First one, lift and shift your workload to Oracle Cloud. Suppose your organization is looking for business growth, and to achieve this growth, you would like to modernize systems by moving all application and database workload to Oracle Cloud. If you have already evaluated Exadata, XACC, XACS, or autonomous database as your destination, which help you in boosting application performance, scalability, availability, security, and ultimately helping you in achieving your business goal. When you decide to migrate your application and database to cloud, your foremost business requirement is to understand application dependencies and retain application performance. To identify application dependencies and various database components that needs to migrate, which may impact your system performance, you need a tool to help you in your identifying dependencies and regress SQLs during your migration. Second reason is standardizing all your database workload to multi-tenant architecture. You might have 1,000+ single or rack databases in your data center, and your IT decision is to consolidate databases to multi-tenant architecture to reduce the IT cost and expenses with operational cost. Third reason, re-platform or upgrade to new infrastructure. Assume your hardware refresh is due and you would like to re-platform or upgrade to new infrastructure like Exadata, which will bring operational efficiency and reducing the cost with additional security and compliance benefits. Migration Workbench enables you to automate and seamlessly migrate your databases by identifying dependencies and regress SQLs with tuning recommendations, which you need to address during your migration. Let us talk about important challenges normally faced during the database migration. Complexity is a major challenge in terms of identifying dependencies and legacy setups. With the complexity is there is a greater risk, especially human errors, as a DBA don't perform database migration every week. Time taken to copy big size databases backups across the network. Simulating production-like use cases in test environments. Multiple teams involvement in testing tasks. Achieving predictable, repeatable testing results. Meeting targeted performance benchmark. Having foolproof business continuity planning with enough testing ahead of production migration. Your testing cycle results will give you early indications of how your production migration is going to shape up. Too often, something unexpected comes up, and that's why it is good to have a safety net. An essential requirement for a business is to ensure that the migrated database at minimum perform the same or better after migration. Oracle Real Application Testing solution help you to do that, ensure successful upgrade, and a lot more. Real application testing is integrated with Enterprise Manager Migration Workbench tool, which takes care of capturing SQL performance details from the source, testing replays, and comparing it with the destination database. It identifies and report impact, detailing the root cause, and provide tuning recommendation for those regress SQLs. Real application testing is a licensable product, which is required at source and destination database servers for on-site migrations, and for the cloud only at the source database server. Migration Workbench is a part of Oracle Enterprise Manager solution and help you to automate, consolidate, migration, and analysis of your database and its workload. Let's look at how it works from the conceptual level and type of migration it supports and how it benefits you and your business. The workflow shown here is end-to-end migration flow that Migration Workbench performs. Dark green boxes indicates required steps, and the light green boxes are optional customization steps that you can carry out during the database migration. You can initiate a new migration activity by selecting a source and destination databases. Optionally, you can customize your migration activity with custom scripts you have. Further, you can do a pre-migration analysis of a source database to determine if your source database is suitable for migration to selected destination. You have options to schedule or submit the migration jobs based on your requirement. Once you submit a migration job, any point of time, you can track the real-time progress of your migration by viewing our deployment procedure logs. Once migration is over, you can do migration analysis using view analysis option, which will give you details on number of objects migrated and any errors you received during the migration process. Migration Workbench offers to carry out pre and post migration performance comparison and gives detailed analysis of SQLs which are improved or deteriorated after migration, with recommendations on the SQLs to tune those SQLs. To carry out this analysis, Migration Workbench leverage SQL Performance Analyzer, which is a part of real application testing license pack. Once business confirm, migrated data is correct, system is performing as per agreed performance benchmark, DBAs can mark migration completed and later clean up the migration job. Migration Workbench is a unique in the industry and what it support, and we will continue to add more support for each release. Did I forgot to mention, if you need any extra help, Oracle support is there as a safety net. Using Migration Workbench, you can migrate from 11G till 23C container or non-container databases to various destinations like on-premises Exadata, commodity hardware, or to OCI-based database services, XACC, XACS, or autonomous databases. You have data pump or transportable table space migration as a methods. You can use Kerberos user authentication and transparent data encryption security during the migration for your destination or source database, which you are going to run on Linux operating system. Can you get migration done faster? Can you make downtime shorter? How you will know migration was successful before we make it available to customers? Have you heard these kind of questions from your management? Migration Workbench help you answer these questions. There are tangible benefits for yourself and your business when using Migration Workbench. It simplifies physical and logical migrations of your on-premise or cloud databases with unified guided workflow. Expedites migration process by automating end-to-end workflow using REST APIs. Reduces migration downtime by providing a real-time progress tracking of the migration. Improves the accuracy of the migration by providing an automatic performance comparison of before and after migration workload using integrated SQL Performance Analyzer. Normally we call it as SPA. Has built-in best practices to improve the migration performance and reduce the downtime during the migration. Provide highest level of security using Kerberos user authentication and transparent data encryption. Offers zero downtime with zero data loss migrations. Using Migration Workbench, migration is broken into 3 simple steps: plan, migrate, and analyze. In planning phase, identify source and destination database to be migrated. Decide if you want to use UI REST APIs for migration. We offer built-in best practices for databases for migration and also offer parameters to optimize the downtime. In the migration phase, you can customize, schedule, pause, resume, monitor migration process at any point of time. Analyze is the final step where you can analyze for the desired performance. Performance analysis gives you insight into performance comparison of before and after migration databases using SQL Performance Analyzer. Let us look at each steps in more detail. In planning phase, you need to decide on migration method for your migration activity. To decide migration method, a picture depicts consider critical parameters such as size of the source database, complexity of database and application downtime feasibility, planning for logical or object or schema or physical migrations. Does migration involves any cross-platform scenarios? Here, TTS, which is transportable table space, offers minimum downtime migration, and data pump offers reduced downtime migrations. This is the plan phase of migration. Workbench gives you one-stop dashboard for creating a migration plan, customizing any migrations, tracking migration process in real time. You will have ability to act while migration is in progress. You can pause, resume, or cancel entire migration workflow. This dashboard also give you summary of successful, failed, or scheduled migration and maintain the historical data of migrations to diagnose and track the migrations. Continuing on planning phase, Migration Workbench offers a pre-migration analysis of a source database using integrated pre-migration advisory for a data pump and TTS migrations. Pre-migration checks such as scheduled DBMS jobs or cron jobs, which might impact during the migration process, count of objects, status of objects, table space statuses, tools installed and used in the database, character set of the database, time zone of database, stale objects and stale statistics exist in the database, which is going to impact your migration activity or performance of the migration process. With integrated pre-migration advisory, you can get a severity-wise recommendations with activity checks, which are passed, failed, action required, or review required. Using advisory report, you can get to know if your database is ready for migration, and if not, which areas you need to work to address those points. There are multiple choices for you to migrate your databases using UI or REST API automation. All the functionality in Migration Workbench can be accessed through REST APIs for easy integration with third-party tools. Migration Workbench help you to create and copy the pre-filled JSON file to integrate with third-party tools. Now, the final phase is analysis phase. As a part of migration from the Workbench, you can do a step-by-step phase-wise migration analysis. Like a pre-migration analysis, Workbench offer post-migration analysis of a destination database using integrated post-migration analysis for a data pump or a TTS migration. Post-migration checks any scheduled DBMS jobs or cron jobs which needs to reschedule, object counts, status of the objects, object record counts, character set, time zone of the database, size of the database, which DBA need to revalidate or validate before database is released to the business for the testing. You will get input validation, pre and post migration summary with severity-wise results, breakup with the detailed analysis. Example, failed task is a blocker. Action required is a critical impact on your migration outcome. Based on the severity, it is expected to take actions in order to fix any of these errors. For any failed objects, you can get more insight and reason for the failures. When you're satisfied with the migration analysis, you can check for the performance of the migrated databases at the destination. To avoid ending up with performance degraded database after migration, you will carry out below steps. Run SQL Performance Analyzer on source, capture the performance of the source database, performance information, migrate the database, run SQL Performance Analyzer on the migrated database and analyze the performance. All these activities are automatically carried out within the Migration Workbench using integrated real application testing. There is no need for any manual intervention during migration process. SQL Performance Analyzer can review and help you in correcting the SQL performance issues. Migration Workbench provide a HTML-based Z report, which you can download. Using this report, you can get a breakup of impacted workload, such as improved or regress SQLs, unchanged or changed plan change SQLs, or unsupported SQLs. You can review the top 200 SQLs with positive or negative impact. Report projects overall impact on workload due to elapsed time, CPU time, user I/O, physical I/Os, etc. For regress SQLs, SQL Performance Analyzer provide improved recommendations using which DBAs can fix the performance issues. This way, you can remediate any negative outcome before end user get affected. You can automate this report using REST API. Now, let us look at common use cases and how Migration Workbench 3 steps process is applied on the on-premise database to cloud migration. Migration Workbench fully certified and support on-premise to autonomous database migrations, on-premise to XRCC, XRCS, or OCI-based database service, or bare metal or VMs, using data pump or TTS migration methods, using UI and REST API workflows with Kerberos and TD security. Example shown here is a migration using data pump logical migration method. Now see, Workbench also support migrating to a new destination like on-premise Exadata and commodity hardware that is running on Linux operating system. Migration Workbench fully certify and support on-premise to on-premise Exadata or commodity hardware on Linux operating system using data pump or TTS migration method with UI or REST API workflows using Kerberos and TD security. You have options to migrate a single instance, rack instance, non-CDB or pluggable databases. Example shown here is a migration using ARM and TTS migration with near zero downtime migration method. Before we wrap today, I'm going to show you a live demo of a Migration Workbench. Hope you can see my screen for Enterprise Manager. To access Migration Workbench, log into Enterprise Manager. In this demo, I'm going to use two databases. One is 12C and second is 19C. So let's see which are the database which are involved in this migration. So I'm going to use this V12C CN 12C non-container database as a source. And I'm going to use R19C, which is a container database of 19C, which has two pluggable databases. To invoke Migration Workbench, let's go to Enterprise, Migration and Consolidation, and Migration Workbench. As we have seen, this is the dashboard or activity page for a Migration Workbench. Using this activity page, DBAs can control any of this migration activity. They can see migrations which are completed, which are in progress, or which are scheduled. Using this activity page, DBAs can take actions specifically viewing the logs, checking the reports, or any other actions they want to take, they can take it using this activity page. To create new migration, we need to use create migration activity menu. After pressing this button, you will get a activity page. Here you need to provide an activity name for your migration. So now let me give name as 12C to 19C as a pluggable database migration. So activity name is database migration 12C to 19C PDB. In migrate option, you have three options. One is full database, schema, and table spaces. As you know, if you are planning for data pump migration, you will get a full database migration or a schema migration as options. And when you are migrating using transportable table space, which is TTS migration, you will get a full database or table space as a migration options. I'm going to consider full database, considering I'm going to use TTS migration method. Select source database, which are already discovered in Enterprise Manager. So we have 12C database, which is already discovered. I'm going to select that as a source database. You can see this is the 12C database running on Linux operating system. For a destination database, you can create new pluggable database. To create new pluggable database, you have to have a container database exist on your destination server. Using this container database, you can give a pluggable database name, administrator username, password, and by which during runtime, we will create this new pluggable database and migrate your source database in it. For this demo, I am going to use existing pluggable database, which is there, which I'm going to use PDB1 as a existing pluggable database for the migration. You can see this is 19C database running on Linux operating system. Selection migration method. We have two migration method, but I'm going to use transportable database as a migration method. Let's continue to next page. On this page, you need to provide the credentials. Credential for source database and host, destination database and host, and some information inputs for the migration activity. You can use preferred credential. If you don't want to provide the inputs here, you want to get this all inputs populated automatically, then create a preferred credential in Enterprise Manager, and that will get populated here. Other option you have is create a name credential in Enterprise Manager, and that option, that name credential user, you can select here. Migration Workbench support normal database name credential, or you can also create Kerberos based user authentication or Kerberos based key tab based user as well. For this migration, I'm going to use normal database name credential, which we have already created. I'm going to use as a sys named user. For a host, I'm going to select the user which I have created. For a destination, I'm going to select sys named user. I'm going to select destination database named user. Here for transportable 12 space migration, you need to provide source working directory, destination directory, or the storage location where you're going to keep your data files. We are taking metadata export of your database as a part of TTS migration, and to encrypt that database backup, we want an encryption password. So we will provide encryption password here. Now, this page is for the customization. In migration details, you have options to select or choose table spaces which you want to select for the migration. Since we have considered full database migration, the table space we cannot choose. But if you select migration method as a table space migration, then you will get the options to choose the table spaces you want to migrate. Migration phase. There are two migration phases here. One is create backup and second is complete migration. In this tool, we are supporting multi-phase migration and single phase migration. So multi-phase migration is, let's say you have big size database and you cannot migrate that my database during the weekend or specified maintenance window. For that, you want to start with taking full backup. Then you want to take few multiple incremental backups, and during maintenance window, you want to, let's say, do a final incremental backup and do a cutover. So for that multi-phase migration method, you can go for create backup. And if you want to do a single phase where there is a small size database and you don't want to take incremental backups, you want to take a full backup and then cut over your database, that option you have this option using complete migration. For this demo, I'm going to use multi-phase migration, so I will select create backup. We are supporting comparing your performance, comparing performance of your source and destination database after migration. We are using real application testing suite here for doing this activity. As we seen in presentation, we are doing DB replay and SQL Performance Analyzer to carry out this activity. We are offering two methods to capture or create the SQL tuning set. One is using AWR. In this phase, what we can do is we can give the duration of the duration in days. So let's say 7 days is a default, where every day there will be a top SQLs which are captured with their performance details, and then there will be SQL tuning set created. Or you can use existing SQL tuning set which you already created and you want to use for your comparison. That option is also available. Normally during the production migration, we allow users to DBAs to create SQL tuning set themselves from the production environment in live and then use that. Custom scripts. If you want to use any customization, for example, you might have some pre-migration steps or post-migration steps. For example, you want to change the printer names, or you want to change some specific base table data after migration. That customization we support. We support shell script and SQL scripts as a custom script. You need to upload those scripts before you start the migration in software library in Enterprise Manager, and that is available here, and that will be getting executed as a part of your migration flow. I'm not going to use any custom script here. This is the review page where you can review the source and destination details which you have provided, as well as the migration methods and options you have provided. On this page, there are two important points which we want to discuss. One is check migration readiness. So this is a pre-migration readiness check for your source database. As we discussed in the presentation, we are allowing users to do a pre-migration check or readiness check for your source database, by which you will know your database is ready for migration to a specified destination. And second option here is validate inputs. So validate input will validate whatever inputs you have provided, and it will go and check in runtime and see whether the given inputs, given storage, you have enough space and even enough storage on those locations, and give you results. So let me press a check migration readiness button, by which there will be a new browser opened, and this browser will generate a migration readiness report for a source database. This is going to take a couple of minutes because it is going to connect to your source database and run multiple scripts and provide you output here. It's getting built, it's taking time.
Hi, Rajendra. We had a question regarding not using Migration Planner. So I see you generating a report here. So again, this is probably one of the benefits of using Migration Planner. Would that be correct?
Not necessary. Migration Planner will give you a source database or source servers analysis by which, yeah, for example, you have, let's say, one machine. On that you have two clusters or two databases, and what Planner does is Planner capture the data for your database, CPU, memory, IOs, and overall performance related data, and then give you how your source resources are consumed on your source database. Considering that, what kind of destination server or a database you should have, that kind of capacity planning it will give you in the Planner. So for example, you have, let's say, commodity hardware and you want to move to Exadata machine. So considering X8 machine or X9 machine, considering whatever source you have and the capacity planning or analysis which we have done as a part of Planner, it will tell you as a part of Planner whether you can fit your databases with confidence in X9 machine. And if yes, then what should be the combination, how you should structure your databases. That kind of planning information, capacity planning information we get in planning Planner feeds.
Thank you for that extra detail, Rajendra. Please continue. Excuse me. We have questions continuing to build.
Sure. Okay. So this migration readiness report is now generated. You can see there is a summary where review required recommendation is given. You can see the details about your server database. So we are using 12C database, which is details here. You can see table spaces which are analyzed, and you will see a breakdown of your result in severity wise. So you will see something in failed, which is a blocker. You can see something as action required. Again, it is a critical input recommendation from our side. And there are some recommendation in review required, review suggested, and past category. So now let's see what are those recommendations. So let's say you have review required. So in review required, what is recommendation is we have identified your source database has stale statistics. There are objects which are exist in your source database which are stale in statistics, and those impact for your migration is stale statistics will cause the application performance after migration. So this is the impact you are going to have, and we are recommending you to inspect these objects and collect the statistics. So your DBA may need to purge the statistics and recollect the statistics. That kind of action is required here. But these are the objects, and last analyzed dates are given here. And these objects have stale statistics, which is going to impact your performance after a migration. So this is the one of the recommendation, and we are recommending you to review those objects and take actions there. Let's take another example where we have review suggested. So in this category, there are two suggestions we have. One is DBMS jobs running or schedule on the source database. So let's see what is the impact because of that. So database migration may fail or perform poorly because of these DBMS jobs. Let's take you are starting migration and you're one of the cron job, reboot your server. It is going to create problem for you, right? So we are capturing all those details here, and then recommending you to review those and whatever actions required you take. For example, for these jobs, we are recommending to either stop or disable these scheduled DBMS jobs or cron jobs. So this is the recommendation we have on your source database. And before you start your migration, you need to review this report, take actions, and then move for the next step. So assuming you have reviewed this all recommendations and then you are ready for migration, we will go back to our previous migration page where we were reviewing the inputs. Here there is a validate button. So if I press validate button, it will check for all the inputs which you have provided. Those will be database names, logins, storage details, and all that. And in runtime, it will provide you recommendations whether it is passed or failed. If it is failed, then you need to fix that issue and then again revalidate it. So we have revalidate button here. You need to resubmit that to revalidate it. It is going to take a couple of minutes because it is connecting to your source database, source host, and destination server, and then giving you all this checks.
Rajendra, another question that's come up a couple of times while the pre-check is running is, looks like some folks are wanting to move actually migrate databases to AWS, and they're asking about can Migration Workbench be used for that?
Technically, if you see, if you are running on host VMs based, we are supporting that, but there is a certification matrix we need to check, and based on that, we can certify that, or we can confirm that. But right now, based on the certification which we have already published, we are supporting Oracle Cloud, any databases or VM or bare metal servers.
Thank you.
Now we can see this pre-checks results are there, and those are 19 checks we have carried out. You can see all of, we can see as green. Let's take a couple of examples. Source database credential validation. So Migration Workbench connected to your database and it did the login. So this is successful. Similarly, for host credential, it has validated and it is looking good. So now you can see everything is looking good and you are good to submit your migration or go for the migration. Let me submit it. So for submission, you have two options. One is you can submit this migration immediately, or you can schedule it, right? So whenever you want to schedule it, you can use this page to schedule the migration. I'm going to submit it immediately using immediate option. If you have options to, or if you are looking for automation using REST API or JSON-based migration methods, we are allowing that you can view this JSON. So this is a pre-filled JSON file with all the inputs which we have so far discussed. For example, there is a URL, then actions. This is a payload with all the details of migration type, database information, destination database information, all those details, the reports which we want to see, all those details are provided here. And you can just copy this JSON file, use any of your third-party orchestration tool, API tools, and submit this payload, and you will see the migration will kickstart. Okay, I'm going to use UI, and I'm going to submit this migration. As soon as I submit it, I will see the migration job getting created in my activity page. Okay, so migration job is successfully submitted. You can go back to the activity page from where you can see all the migration and their statuses. You can see this is the migration job which is now created. You can see this is the first job because we have used multi-phase migration, and this job is started now. If you want to see the procedure logs for this job, you can click on this procedure and see the entire details, each and every step which is being carried out. So this is the activity, procedure activity. You have options to filter the outputs. You can refresh your output here, either manual or every 30 seconds. And now you can see the each and every step which is getting carried out here. So if you want to see the logs, you can select this specific step or procedure, and you have option to see the logs which is being created and generated here. You have options to download this log any point of time. you have options to take action on this specific step. If you want to ignore it, or if there is a failure, you can retry it. You want to update and retry it. Those all options are available here for each step here. So let me go to the migration activity page and see the status of the job. So job is still running. I can show you the previously executed job. So this is the job I have submitted. So considering full migration, this is the job it took around 5 minutes to complete. So now our job is getting executed, and so far it is 2 minutes we have completed. Let's see what is going on with this job, which steps right now we are in. I'll filter for steps which have not skipped. It is checking for initial backups. So let's say if you want to see how you are preparing your destination database for a migration, you will see this is the step we are carrying out in the backend. And this is a log. You can anytime download it. Now, this job is still running. You can see 3 minutes, it's already passed. Okay, so now status is succeeded. You can go back to the activity page and you can see this job is completed. See, this job is completed. Now it is showing a status on awaiting user action. So what it means is you have selected for a multi-phase migration, and now you have options. You can just click on this hamburger menu and you have options to either do a cutover with complete migration or take incremental backup. So let's take, you want to update the backup, means you are going to take incremental backup, or complete migration means you want to cut over by taking another incremental backup and then do a cutover. So for the time being, I'm going to use complete migration, and the new job will be kicked off here, which is going to be a final backup, incremental backup, followed by your metadata backups, and that activity will start now. So this is the migration which we have completed, submitted. For this migration, I have submitted another incremental backup, which took another 3 minutes. And after that, I submitted a final migration, which was a cutover, which took around 40 minutes. So this is the way the migration you can submit and keep on taking incremental backups, and finally you can submit the final migration. You can see this new job is created, and this job will keep on running now. Now let me move to the migration which I have submitted in past, and show you the next step. So assume you have completed this migration And now you want to see the analysis of your migration. So analysis means you want to see how many objects are migrated, how many errors you have received it, and those you can use view analysis option, and using that you will see details about your migration you have done. So here we have three options. One is validation, export, and import. In the validation step, you can see there are 58 checks we have carried out. We have submitted three migrations. One is initial full backup. Later we have submitted incremental backup, and finally we have done a cutover. So this is how the validation checks are done in runtime, and you can see the status of each validation step. If you see any errors, you can troubleshoot that here using this log. Next step is export. In the export, you can see, is it 100% exported, how many objects are migrated, whether the status is successful or not, how much time it took, and which user we have used. All these details you will see in the export. If there are any errors, you will see in this object error section. You can see the export options which we have used and the export files which you have generated. You can see it here. Using this, your DBAs can troubleshoot if any of this error. Let's go to the import section. Import section, you can see 99% is completed, and there is 1%. There is some 6 jobs, 6 failures we can see. Now, this migration is completed with errors. Now you need to understand why there is an error. Now you can see these are the sections where you can get more details. So object errors. So these are the objects which has error. Let's take example about table space. Why table space gave an error? So this table space 1, undo table space 1 and temp, we have got error because already exist. So what it means is in your destination pluggable database, this table space name is already there, and that's the reason it is ignored this migration, this object. And now DBAs can take actions whether they want this table space or this object, and they can migrate it separately, or they can just check and ignore this error because this table space is already there and there is no impact as such on this. You can see the import options which we have used and the import files which we have created here. Those details you will get. So now, assuming you have validated, you have analyzed your migration details, what validation we did, what exported objects we did, and import we did. And for TTS also, we are going to add additional validations here, specifically objects, statuses, table space statuses, and all that. You will get it here in coming releases, and that will be part of this report. Now you ensure that everything is going good and your validation looks good. You want to see how is your performance of your migrated database. To see the performance, you can click on this. You can just hamburger menu and see view analysis, or sorry, view performance for checking the report. So this performance report will be generated using SQL Performance Analyzer, and underneath, behind the scene, we are using real application testing suite to carry out this activity for us.
Hey, Rajendra, we've still got
Yep.
several questions pending. And
Yep.
if you don't mind real quick, we've got one
Yep, sure.
person who's interested. Is real application testing licensed per CPU? Is it the source CPU, the target CPUs, both?
Yeah, so if you are using on premises, then it will be a CPU based. And if your destination, then on destination servers, which is a cloud, Oracle Cloud specifically, the cloud database is XSCS, XSCC autonomous, the license is covered. So you don't need additional license on destination, but on source, it is a CPU based license.
Great. Are there any database size restrictions? Looks like someone has about a 400 terabyte database they want to move.
Yeah, so just like we have seen, this transportable table space migration method is meant for large size of databases where you can control your size of databases by taking full backup and keep on taking incremental backup. And finally, you can do a cutover whenever you have lean period when the users are less on that, or maintenance period is planned for that. You can plan how much downtime you need. Definitely there is some downtime required because you are going to do a cutover when your source table space will be in read-only mode, but you can control all of your sizes of your databases by taking incremental backup. And that's the beauty of this transportable table space migration method.
And one more before you get back to your demo. And for regressed SQLs on the target, are they using, does SPA use profiles or SQL plan baselines?
You have two options as we discussed. You can use AWR, where you can give the options to collect the generate the SQL performance SQL tuning sets on the fly from the production AWR report, or you can generate a SQL tuning set and use that. So both options are available.
Great. And I would go ahead and probably move towards the wrap up because Monica's going to probably give you the hook soon.
Sure. Okay. So this is the performance report we have generated. Here you can see these are the trials, trial 1 and trial 2. And we have analyzed around 255 SQLs during these trials. You can see overall impact. We can see after migration, your database is performing with 81% improvement. And what are those? You can see there are common SQLs, improved SQLs. There is no regression. There is no performance issues you're going to see because of migration. You can see before and after elapsed time. There are SQLs which are improved. You can see this is the SQL. If you click on this, you will see this is the SQL which is improved. There are unchanged SQLs. You can sort on SQLs by plan change or same plan. Let's take an example about this SQL. If you click on the SQL, you will get which SQL it is getting executed. So this is the SQL which is executed here. Now you can, you can see the analysis. There are a lot of metrics specifically on performance side: elapsed time, parsing, CPU time, user IO, and what is the matrix it is showing before and after. Is it improved? It is not improved. And then you have plans here. So plan for before migration and plan after migration. So if there is a deterioration or if you see the regress SQLs are there, your DBA can check, compare apple to apple your plans and take required actions. And we are also giving recommendation what you should do to improve this regress SQL. So this is how you can see the performance report. And here, this is easily, you can see your users are not going to see any performance issues as such. This is the way you can do this migration. Any migration using REST API or UI or EMCLI, you can carry out these migrations. We are supporting on-premises as well as cloud databases, and any of these migrations, we are supporting all the flow. So let me go back to my summary slide. And as you have seen, just I'm summarizing, you have seen the demo. Database Migration Workbench is end-to-end solution that is enabling you to migrate databases successfully, and variety of benefits you are going to get as a DBA or your organization. And this is what we want to convey very easily and simply without any trouble. You can do this migration of your databases. Oops. There are additional inputs for you where you can get more details about Migration Workbench. There are videos, there are live labs. You can use this live lab icons, scan codes, and there are two live labs we have. One is for data pump and transportable database migration, and one is for autonomous database migration. You can submit using your MOS IDs, and then the live lab will be enabled for you for 7 hours. You can carry out hands-on, or you can do hands-on use cases there. And using that, you can make comfortable and take further decisions to use this tool for your actual migrations. Thank you for your time, and I'm now happy to take questions.
So Rajendra, you've had a lot of great questions come in. So thank you for the audience for asking all those. There's a couple remaining and running out of time here. So we've got one that's asking if there's a check migration script available in MetaLink to run standalone in a source database. Not sure if that's something.
No, right now, whatever pre-checks we have, that is integrated with the Migration Workbench.
Great. Another is, will the utility handle sys-level objects like grants on system objects to application schemas and ACLs, I'm guessing, be handled in the migration? Yeah.
So we see, if you are using data pub migration method, then definitely yes. If you are using TTS migration, which is transportable table space migration, as a behavior, your sys and system objects, which are system objects, those are excluded from the migration methods. So if you have any objects which are there in those sys and system table spaces, or by mistake you have created there, you need to move them to take care of that. But when you're moving to your destination, all your sys and system objects will be there, and which will be created or will be there in your destination as such.
Okay, well, I think that's just about it. Some folks are referring to some of the links that you were just showing. If you could go back to that reference slide real quick, Rajendra, and maybe wrap up there. You'll be providing a PDF of this presentations to the New York Oracle user group folks, and all of those links will be active and work from there. So again, these are great resources we continue to send out there, and especially the blog that you did on the subject matter. So at this point, Rajendra, it looks like we don't have any other questions. So Monica, I guess you're going to come back and do a wrap up.
Sure am. And thank you guys so much. For those of you who don't recognize his voice, that's Steve Lemmy. He's been working with NYOUG and myself to get this Level Up series available to all of you. I just dropped a link in the chat for everyone to see for registration for the next of the series. So thank you so much for presenting for us today. I know to speak on behalf of NYOUG and Viscosity, we are super thankful, and we're excited to keep bringing you guys more webinars like this. So check out that link, register for the next one on, I believe it's May 9th. And we're going to get all of this information to you guys in a follow-up email from New York Oracle User Group or from myself or my team. And as I mentioned before, all of our stuff is posted at orapub.com, where you can access the webinar recording and the slides. So give us about a day to get that rendered and up online for you. And otherwise, if you've got any last minute questions, get them in. We're so thankful to have such great speakers seeking out New York Oracle User Group and Viscosity. So thank you so much, Rajendra, and everyone.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yes, everyone who helped with the Q&A. I think that was Steve and Mithil. So thank you guys so much. This is Rob from NYOUG up. Thank you so much, Rob, and Coleman. Thank you. All right. I don't see
Thank you,
any
Stephen, for your
questions.
team, also for helping us out here with these ongoing webinars.
Yeah, when was the last time, Coleman, you did a database migration in 1 hour?
You see the hair, no hair on the head? That's how long.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much. Also, I wanted to bring up, if any of you are in Dallas, Texas for the formerly was called Collaborate. Now it's called Blueprints 4D conference by the Quest Oracle community. It'll be here in our backyard. So if you want an invite to some Viscosity events, I'll be happy to share that with you. And otherwise, you can find great sessions kind of like this throughout that week here in Dallas. So take care, everyone. Have a great day, and we hope to see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.